Welcome in to Outkick the Show. I am your fearless leader, Clay Travis. I hope that you guys are all having scintillating Tuesdays. Outkick the Show is presented, as always, by OddsShark. Go to OddsShark for all of your gambling and informational-related needs. Loaded show, as always, today. Everybody dive in. We've got NBA trade and draft craziness. We'll dive into that. Trump in North Korea, Phil Fulmer back to the University of Tennessee, and hallelujah, your prayers are answered. The Bachelor in Paradise is back on, baby. But we begin with the obvious, big-time story of the day, which is the NBA offseason being more entertaining than anything having to do with the NBA in-season. So many different dramatic movements. Let's start with what I think is the most intriguing team out there in terms of the decisions that they have to make and what could happen as a result. And that is, to me, the Lakers. Okay, the Lakers, and I'm going to get my little note card here because I had to write down how awful their offseason was last year in terms of the contracts that they signed. The Lakers, this is amazing. Luol Deng, $18 million a year for 3 more years. And they own Timothy Mozgov, $16 million a year for 3 more years. And they signed, who else did they sign? They signed somebody else who's shitty. This might be, in all honesty, the worst off-season in the history of basketball. And I mean this seriously. The decision to give Luol Deng 4 years of $18 million plus, and Mozgov $16 million a year. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but they have to get rid of at least one of those contracts. Timothy, not Timothy, fuck you. All right, I'm starting off strong here. If you're in America and your name looks like Timothy, I'm going to fucking pronounce it as Timothy, okay? If you want to pronounce it as Timothy, then you can go suck a dick somewhere else, all right? This show is not for you, all right? If it looks like Timothy and it cackles like Timothy, and it's in America, goddammit, I'm saying Timothy, all right? So that's where we begin. These are awful, awful contracts. But the Lakers do have an intriguing decision to make here, okay? What do they do? What do they do with Paul George? Because the hardcore Laker fan out there, is like, oh, well, Paul George is going to come here anyway. Did you not see him at Disneyland in the offseason? I'm not kidding about this. Hardcore Laker fan is blowing me up like, did you not see Paul George came to Disneyland in the offseason? Clear message that he's going to come to the Lakers. He could have gone to Disney World. And you know what I thought? You know what I thought when I saw that? I was like, that actually makes some sense. Because Disney World dunks on Disneyland. Why would anybody go to Disneyland if they had the choice between going to Disneyland or going to Disney World? It actually doesn't make any sense to go to Disneyland. And I'm sitting here thinking, maybe I'm as crazy as these Laker fans. Maybe they've got something going on. Maybe they're making sense. Why would you go to Disneyland over Disney World? He's trying to send a message, walk around with everybody saying that everybody loves him. If you didn't see that on Snapchat, we talked about it on Outkick the Coverage. But I actually think this is the play here. I think the Lakers need to use this opportunity to trade for Paul George, even though you could theoretically wait for him. Trade for him, get rid of either Mozgov or that Luol Deng contract, send one of those guys along with D'Angelo Russell and their later first-round pick, maybe an additional player if they need to Indiana for Paul George. Then your team's a little bit better this year, and more importantly, you're setting up for the possibility of LeBron James leaving the Cavs at the end of the year. And I'll talk to you in a minute about LeBron James. So the Lakers have to make a decision about what to do with Paul George. There's reports out there that they're now talking to the Pacers and that they may be considering trading for Paul George. Fascinating question to see what happens there. On top of that, there's no drama at the top of the NBA draft this year. The drama is actually at number 2. Will the Lakers actually go out and draft Lonzo Ball on Thursday, or do they pass on Lonzo Ball, potentially even trade this pick and go get somebody else? I still think they're going to go Lonzo Ball, but there definitely is not a certainty there, at least not that I've seen. I like to monitor the offshore gambling markets. Right now, Lonzo Ball is minus 200 to go to the Lakers. So he's a pretty decent favorite to go to the Lakers, but it's not set in stone like, obviously, the 76ers pick is with Fultz going there, and no doubt at all about who number one is going to be. So the Lakers are the first team. Secondly, what are the Cavs going to do? What are the Cleveland Cavaliers going to do? Because I think the decision to get rid of Dan Gilbert, I think LeBron, with his tweet about how he had no idea what was going to happen, one of you can go back in time. I think he said the same thing about David Blatt. I don't believe that there's any way imaginable that Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, is firing the GM without letting LeBron James know in advance. I think what happens in situations like these is LeBron James says he doesn't want any of the blood on his shirt, and so he does such a quick slit of the throat, and then he vanishes, and then he leaves Dan Gilbert right there to just get hit by all the blood spraying everywhere. And everybody's like, Dan Gilbert's an idiot. How'd Dan Gilbert make this decision? I don't buy for a second that Dan Gilbert is firing the GM of the Cleveland Cavaliers without LeBron James signing off on it. I think LeBron is sensitive about the fact that he is both player and GM and coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think and owner basically, and I think he doesn't want his power to be broadcast out there. But there's no way, in my opinion, that Dan Gilbert fires Griffin there without LeBron James signing off on it. I just don't buy it. Now, some of you may believe it. Some of you may believe that Dan Gilbert truly had nothing, that he had no conversation with LeBron James. I don't think with LeBron James becoming a free agent at the end of the next year that you don't go to him and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking about doing. What would your position be? Do you want to save Griffin or not? I think LeBron James is okay with this being gone. Now the talk is that potentially we're going to get Chauncey Billups in, and the NBA has become like every other place in America where former players just get jobs, right? Like John Lynch just gets the GM job, and now Chauncey Billups might get the president of basketball operations job, despite the fact that his other job is just to sit, much like John Lynch, and just give opinions. I don't know how long it's going to be till somebody calls me up and they're like, hey, Clay, do you want to be GM? Do you want to be president of the company, of the team? I'll be like, sure, I'll take over. I think I could be an AD. How hard could it be? I got a harder job now than most ADs do, especially if you have a good coach. So I don't know how Chauncey Billups deserves that job. I don't know how a lot of guys who get their jobs deserve them. I think what it shows you is that the job of a GM, especially in the NBA, and the job of a president, is not that tough. It's about your relationships with the best players, and my guess would be that Chauncey Billups and LeBron James have a really good relationship. That's my guess. I don't know. Certainly Ty Lue, I don't know what Ty Lue does on the sideline. You don't know what Ty Lue does on the sideline. I have no idea what Ty Lue does on a day-to-day basis. Nobody does. Anybody have any idea what Ty Lue does? Do you believe that Ty Lue is an incredible basketball tactician? Do you believe that Ty Lue, like X's and O's just kind of come over him and he's like a beautiful mind just up like sketching out different play designs and everything else? Come on. Ty Lue is a figurehead because LeBron James is effectively the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I think he's sensitive about being the GM. But the big question about LeBron and the Cavs is, how can they get better? I think they were rattled by the dominance that we saw from the Golden State Warriors. Now, there's talk that Andre Iguodala may leave for $20 million somewhere else and get overpaid, but to me, the clear core of the Warriors coming back, anybody who watched that series, it took the Cleveland Cavaliers playing one of the best offensive games in the history of the NBA playoffs in order to win one game against the Warriors. That's it. That's how much and how good the Warriors had to be played against, how good the Cavs had to be in that one game to win. So I think the Cavs are rattled. I think they thought that series was going to be more competitive than it was. LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Kyrie Irving were no match for the Warriors. So I think the Warriors have gone back to the drawing board and they're saying, man, we got to do something. Because there's no way after another year of these guys playing together that suddenly LeBron James becoming 33, that the Cavs are going to be better next year than they are this year. So the options are, do you go after Jimmy Butler or do you go after Paul George? And in the process, probably you have to give up Kevin Love. Now, I'm of the opinion that the big problem that the Cavs have is they have overpaid Tristan Thompson and they have overpaid J.R. Smith. And as a result, they are way over the salary cap. And if they trade and get another big-name player, I don't believe that their big five are going to matter, right? I don't think that there's any way Jimmy Butler is going to come in and replace Kevin Love, and suddenly the Cavs are going to be able to beat the Warriors. So, this is a question that I have, which nobody is asking. I think I'm the only person who's asked it. If you are Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cavs, I think you have to have a sit-down with LeBron James. I think you have to say, look, are you leaving me after this year? Because if you're leaving me after this year, let's find you a destination for 1 year. Let's find out who wants to rent you. and then you can go wherever else you want to go because LeBron James has a no-trade clause. But to me, everybody's saying, well, the Pacers can't get stuck with Paul George and then get nothing for him. Why is nobody asking why the Cavs can't have the same thing happen? Nobody's asking that question except me. The Cavs probably are going to lose, I believe, LeBron James after next year. That means he'll just ride off into the sunset. If you aren't good enough to win a championship next year, and I don't believe the Cavs are unless the Warriors have substantial injuries, why in the world would you allow LeBron James to just walk off with nothing else, with no compensation? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The same people who are like, oh, the Indiana Pacers would be idiots to let Paul George ride off into the sunset and get nothing for him are not even raising the question about why you wouldn't make the same determination about LeBron James given the fact that he only has one season left on his contract. I do believe, somebody saying, oh, LeBron won't leave the Cavs again. I disagree. I think LeBron James is going to leave the Cavs at the end of this year. I think he's going to try to put together, even though he said he hasn't been on a super team, I think he's going to try to put together one last super team and get one more big contract. Now, if I were advising LeBron James, what I would tell him to do is to get a sweetheart deal that will allow him to invest in a team for a low cost, and in that process, take close to the veteran minimum. If I were LeBron James at this point, I would say, look, you may make $30 million a year for the next 3 or 4 years. But do you know what's more valuable to you in the long range? You've got hundreds of millions of dollars already. It's finding a way to win a couple of more rings. And so why not take the veteran minimum? I'm asking this question. Why not take the veteran minimum and sign a deal with the team secretly that allows you to buy in as a substantial owner in that team when your career is over? And the way to do that, get a sweetheart deal on the buy-in. I've been saying this for a while. I'm going to write it probably this week. Why in the world, if you were an NBA owner and you could get LeBron James, let's say, for $5 million a year, which is about $30 million a year less than he could theoretically make, why would you not give him a sweetheart deal and let him buy a stake in the team for $120 million less than otherwise you would have been paying him? Think about this. Now, this is a little bit complicated for some of you, so I want you to think about it. Circle back around. Let's say LeBron James takes $5 million a year, okay? LeBron James takes $5 million a year for 4 years. He goes to age of 33, 34, 35, and 36, and then he retires. Retires at 36, 4 more years after this year. So 5 more years total of playing basketball. 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Takes it to 37, about the same age as Kobe, all right? 5 more years. It's not allowed under NBA rules to guarantee somebody an ownership stake while they're playing. But I'm telling you, as a lawyer, you could definitely set up an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, sign a silent contract, okay? And then when you sell that stake to LeBron James, sell it for $120 million less than you would have ever gotten before. Therefore, LeBron gets his money back in a sweetheart deal to invest in a team. And don't tell me that Michael Jordan didn't get a sweetheart deal when he invested in a team, and that Magic Johnson didn't as well. The NBA both needs and wants prominent black athletes to move into ownership in this league, right? It's great for the league. There's no way that somebody is going to challenge the validity of a small minority ownership stake that allows you to have a toehold that eventually could be built into an ownership stake in the league. Think about it for a minute. Tell me that's not the smart strategic play for LeBron James. Taking less money would allow him to bring in a couple of additional big-time playmakers and create another super team with a chance to win a championship. It's smart. It's intelligent. You can claim that there was no agreement beforehand, even though, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, there was clearly an agreement beforehand. If I were repping LeBron James, that's what I would be looking for. And for everybody out there who says, oh, you can't do that, you're idiots. You can do anything if you pay your lawyers enough money. Trust me, I know. All right, let's take a pause here for a sec. We still got more NBA drama to discuss, but I want to tell you right now, go download the SeatGeek app at this exact moment. Go download the SeatGeek app. I've got it on my phone. You should have it on your phone. We got a long period of time where there's not a lot of great sports. Now, for you guys, there might not be a lot of great sports. I'm going to go to Wimbledon in a couple of weeks. Thanks for Andy Roddick for hooking me up with tickets. But I'm already looking at prices of what tickets for college football are going to cost. I'm going to be at the opening weekend. College football in Atlanta when the Mercedes-Benz Arena opens. You got Alabama playing FSU. You've got Tennessee playing Georgia Tech. Now, I'll be in the press box, but I might have some people with me, friends, family, coworkers, who need to get good seats, and you can already go in right now. If you're having college football or NFL withdrawal, you can just download the SeatGeek app and go check out the pricing for different games. Go check out the seat value. Even go check out the brand new Mercedes-Benz Arena and see what the seats look like. I'm doing it. You should do it too. Download the SeatGeek app. Once you download the SeatGeek app, as a credit to them, they have a code set up. You go to the settings tab, click add a promo code, put in the promo code OUTKICK, and you will save $20 on your first purchase. I did it myself. I know how well it worked. That's where I bought my tickets for the Preds when I was going to those games during the playoffs. That's where I'll be buying them if I need them for college football or the NFL. You, my friends, can get hooked up as well. All you need to do, go download SeatGeek, put in the code OUTKICK, and you will save $20 first time you use it. I appreciate you guys for doing that. All right, let's continue. Jimmy Butler. Where should Jimmy Butler go? It looks like the Cavs believe they can add Jimmy Butler. There's also talk that there is a possibility that Jimmy Butler is going to go potentially to the Celtics. The Celtics are in a mix trying to figure out where everybody's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. The other linchpin team, to me, there are three linchpin teams here. Lakers, Cavs, Celtics. What are those three teams going to do, and what are they going to try to do? The Lakers, number one, are they going to trade for Paul George? Who do they take it to? The Cavs, do they try to broker a deal to get rid of Kevin Love? What's the move that they are going to try to take advantage of? And the third team, the Boston Celtics. Danny Ainge, is he making a decision right now to try to go out and win a championship on this day, like this season coming up? Or is he trying to make a decision to plan for when LeBron James is on the downward slope of his career and his young team is becoming ascendant and he can have, in theory, then a dominant dynastic team? I don't know the answer. If he's trying to make a run now, if he feels like the Cavs can be had, then he should go out and try to get Gordon Hayward. He should go out and try to get Blake Griffin. He should go out and potentially try to get Jimmy Butler. If he doesn't think that he's ready, if he doesn't think that he is ready to make the next step, then what he needs to do is just lay low. Do what he did. Trade the pick for allow the Sixers to get Markelle Fultz. Go get one of the top guys that you want at 3. Allow that talent to continue to develop and take advantage of the fact that your team is so young. I think that's the question. If you gave Danny Ainge truth serum right now, does he believe that his team is close to a championship? That would help us know what's going on. As for New York, I have no fucking idea what Phil Jackson is doing. Nobody does. First of all, he's trying to get rid of Carmelo Anthony, and nobody wants Carmelo Anthony, so there's no real trade value for Carmelo. Secondly, he's now saying that he might be interested in trading Kristaps Porzingis, and that doesn't make any sense at all because Porzingis is 7'3" and like 23 years old, and he's a damn beast on the basketball court. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Phil Jackson is just like, fuck it, do you know how many rings I have? I can do whatever I want, and none of it makes sense. He seems like he's trying to run the New York Knicks into the ground. The Knicks have been bad for so long. The NBA is better when the basketball is better in New York, but there's nothing to believe in at all if you are a Knicks fan. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the decision is. It is a disaster. Surely he's not thinking about trading Porzingis, who hardly cost any money at all because he's still on his rookie contract. It would be a highway robbery if somebody were able to get Porzingis, and if in exchange they didn't have to give up like every draft pick for the next 5 years. That's the only way I can see it making sense. And even then, if you have a great thing, and clearly that's the only thing the Knicks have that Knicks fans are really excited about, why in the world would you give him up? It just doesn't make any sense. It's a potential disaster. Okay, that is all the NBA talk. Are there any questions about the NBA? Any NBA trade deadline talk? Any NBA draft talk? We'll be talking about this a great deal tomorrow. 250 AM FM stations nationwide. Also, Sirius XM Channel 83. And you can download the podcast. We got the podcast downloaded, and I heard that was what's going on. Who goes number 1 overall? It's Fultz. The big question is who's going to go 2. Is it going to be Lonzo Ball to the to the Lakers or not? Okay, so that is the talk. All right, a couple of additional things I want to hit. Trump in North Korea. I don't know if you guys saw his tweet, but this situation, the kid who came back from UVA, the fraternity student who basically got killed because he tried to steal a sign in North Korea. I have been on this for a long time. You talk to anybody who has known me, you go back to college, you go back to law school. I have been on the idea that Kim Jong-un and everybody in North Korea is a disaster. When we went to war with Iraq, and George W. Bush said there was an axis of evil, and he said it was Iran, Iraq, and North Korea. I think that's the axis of evil as he described it, right? I said, why in the world are we going into Iraq, which is, of those 3, the least dangerous of those countries? I said at the time, before we even went to Iraq, I said, look, Saddam Hussein is a crazy man, but he's a totalitarian leader who's not motivated by religion. What motivated Saddam Hussein? Money, power, and pussy. All right? It's what typically motivates totalitarian dictators. Money, power, and pussy. You're motivated by money, power, and pussy. You're not crazy. I can in some way negotiate with you, right? That's the truth. You down with NPP? That's what Saddam Hussein was down with. He was down with money, power, and pussy, all right? If you look at Iraq, like the people in general, women can drive cars. You know, women still can't drive cars, and our huge ally, Saudi Arabia, they weren't that conservative. There wasn't the fear of an Islamic State taking over. It was a secular, so as these things can be, Middle Eastern country. And then we went in and we allowed everything to come undone, and we decided to depose Saddam Hussein, and everything went to shit. All right? I said it was a bad idea at the time. I said what we should have done, if we're looking for the global perspective, is we should have gone into North Korea. We should have gone into North Korea, and if we went into North Korea, if we had gone into North Korea, we have a same situation which happened in Germany. You reunited East Germany and West Germany, and Germany turned into an economic power with a democracy behind it and helped to make Europe more stable. Instead, we went into Iraq, spent trillions of dollars, and have nothing to show for it. And North Korea, in all that time, instead of being scared of us and what we were doing, ended up creating more and more nuclear weapons, more and more dangerous ballistic missiles that now have the ability, theoretically, at some point in the near future, to start to reach other countries, Japan, certainly South Korea, potentially China, and rain down danger upon them. We had the opportunity, if we had had balls, if we had not been a bunch of pussies, we had the opportunity to somehow figure out North Korea during the Bill Clinton administration, during the George W. Bush administration, during the Barack Obama administration. Instead, since all the way back to 1992, we've continued to allow North Korea to become more powerful and have more ability to wreak havoc on the global economy. And instead of creating an economic powerhouse in South Korea and North Korea like we did with East and West Germany, where we could have a democratic trading republic in Asia that would be a huge United States ally, we have allowed North Korea to go even more and more into the banana republic state. And the reason why I'm bringing up North Korea is obviously because of the young kid who died, and I think that's insane. Is Dennis Rodman, by the way, still in North Korea? Do we know? It's amazing to me. Donald Trump just sent out this tweet, which if you want to read his tweets as being significant, just sent out this tweet and said, while I greatly appreciate the efforts of President Xi and China to help with North Korea, it has not worked out. At least I know China tried, ! And to me, that's a terrifying tweet that was just sent out by Donald Trump, because to me what it represents is the fact that the United States may make the decision to go it alone. And look, while I love the idea of Donald Trump reuniting North and South Korea, winning the Nobel Prize, making the world a safer place, and all of that could happen, I don't trust Donald Trump's ability when it comes to geopolitical maneuvering, and I'm nervous about Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump both being unreliable actors who don't necessarily make the predictable choice, and where that could all lead us. So, I am unhappy with that tweet. I'm uncomfortable with the situation with North Korea. We should have taken care of this under the Clinton administration, under the George W. Bush administration, under the Barack Obama administration, and now we got Donald Trump rolling in. And to be frank, I trust Trump's judgment much less than I trust Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, or Barack Obama's judgment. So I'm nervous about what's going to happen there. My wife said this the other day. We're talking about what we were going to buy down on the beach. And she said, well, why are you worried about what the prices might be on beach homes? And I said, because honestly, I have no idea what Donald Trump's going to do. I want him to just get in office and give me a fucking 15% tax rate. And then I'll make a lot of money, and I'll roll that money back into the economy, and everything will be great. We can make America great again. Instead, he's been politically incompetent, and I have no idea what he's going to be actually capable of. The only thing that Donald Trump has managed that has not been somewhat of a disaster was getting a new Supreme Court justice appointed, who I think is a decent guy. And by the way, we didn't talk about this yet, but the Supreme Court, big decision, 8-0 on the decision to allow trademarking of quote-unquote offensive names, which I like. As a First Amendment absolutist, I thought that was a big win. And the Redskins actually filed, the Washington Redskins football team actually filed an amicus brief supporting the attempt of this Korean rock group, the Slants. And what was fascinating about this is these are things that the trademark office has registered. And so if you're offended by these, take it up with the trademark office. The PTO has registered Dangerous Negro, Baked by a Negro, Celebritards, Retardopedia, Yellow Man, Red Man, Stinky Gringo, Gringo Style Salsa, Gringo Barbecue, Yed Dish, Little Indian Giver, Midget Man, Crippled Old Biker Bastards, Old Geezer, White Girl with a Booty. What an amazing brand that is. White Girl with a Booty. Oh My Nappy Hair, Nappy Roots, Boys Are Stupid, Throw Rocks at Them. This is fantastic. White Trash Rebel, Dago Swag. I'm not even sure. Dago, I don't even know how to pronounce that slur. Redneck Army, Cracka Ass, 2 Z's, Cracka Ass Skateboards, and Dumb Blonde, with no apparent regard to whether such marks may disparage women, men, racial groups, religious groups, elderly people, and disabled people. The government's concern for offensiveness likewise is not apparent from the PTO's routine registration of pornographers' marks and other lewd, graphic, and sexually explicit marks and images, including many with overt racial references and vulgar female nudity. Pretty fascinating paragraph there from the Washington Redskins filing. I'm obviously a First Amendment absolutist. I think that the market should decide whether or not a term is offensive in the trademark universe, and obviously the Washington Redskins are not considered to be offensive based on the fact that they sell millions and millions of dollars in gear every year in our nation's capital. So I think the market should decide. I'm a market-based guy, not pussies on the internet. Not the pussies on the internet. There's a difference between social media losers and the market, and I think businesses are just now starting to realize that they've been too reactive to a bunch of pussies getting retweets on the internet, that if you just stay it out and just wait, you end up like Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, everybody's like, oh, they're so anti-gay. You know what Chick-fil-A said? You don't have to agree with us. We make a damn fine chicken sandwich. You know what I do? I'm fine with gay people getting married, but I'm also fine with that chicken sandwich. So I take my family to Chick-fil-A all the time. Bachelor in Paradise is back. Bachelor in Paradise is back, baby. Corinne put her genitals near DeMario, and I think basically they said, what do you expect? DeMario's a gentleman. He's going to take advantage of her genitals there. He's going to give her something that she likes. There's no lawsuit anymore, no sexual assault. Hallelujah. Bachelor in Paradise is back. They haven't officially announced what day it's going to start, but you know where I'll be? Sitting right down in front of my television, watching, baby. God bless Corinne. She almost killed Bachelor in Paradise. I would have really hated her if she did that. And finally, Phil Fulmer returns to the University of Tennessee. Maybe the Fulmer curse is now at an end. He's going to be an ambassador for the University of Tennessee. Great guy. My second book was called On Rocky Top. It was about Phil Fulmer's final season at the University of Tennessee in 2008. I appreciate all of you who read it. It's a great book. It's well done. It's a crappy season. Tennessee goes 5-7 and fires their coach. But maybe after a long time, the last time the University of Tennessee was in Atlanta playing for the SEC title was 2007, the year before Phil Fulmer was fired. He actually led in the fourth quarter 14-13 until Eric Ainge threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown by LSU, and then threw another interception driving late looking for the tie. That was the last time Tennessee was in Atlanta. I don't think they're going to go back anytime soon, but if they fire Butch Jones at the end of this year and hire Chip Kelly, the world will look great for for the Big Orange once more. It's all about the coach, baby. All right, a few more questions from you guys, and then I am off for the rest of the day. We will be back tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern on Outkick the Coverage, over 250 AM and FM radio stations nationwide in all 50 states, as well as Sirius XM Channel 83. You can go download the podcast if you would like. Odds of a war with North Korea? I hope not. I hope not, because I think millions of people potentially could die. I'd like to have a strategic strike where we can get in and wipe out all of the leadership. I don't know that we're capable of doing that right now, and it's scary. It's scary to think about. I think North Korea is the most dangerous country in the world. I've been saying it for a decade. We've allowed them to get more dangerous instead of the world getting safer when it comes to North Korea. It has gotten more dangerous, and so I think it's going to be a mess. Oh, yeah, big election going on in the 6th District of Georgia. I bet some of you who are listening or watching this show today are in that district, just north of Atlanta, I believe, a wealthy suburban district. And we have an anti-Trump congressman who doesn't live in the district going up against a Republican woman. I looked, honestly, at this beforehand because I was going to tell you that I wanted to give you the, let's see, that you can go bet on it through our friends at OddsSharks. Right now, Karen Handel, she is the Republican. She is minus 250. That's about a 66% chance that she will win, according to this. John Ossoff, I think Ossoff, is that how you pronounce his name? The young Democrat who is running is plus 110. So according to the odds makers, it would be a fairly substantial upset for the Democrats to pull off this win in Georgia's 6th congressional district. Again, my buddies at OddsShark, you can go gamble on pretty much anything. They've got the data up. Go to oddshark.com for all your gambling and informational related needs. What makes it significant? You're tone deaf with politics. Well, it's an election, a special election to fill the seat of the individual that Trump put into his cabinet, I believe, right? The doctor that had represented that district for a long time. And so it's seen by many people as the first opportunity for Democrats to demonstrate that they can mobilize anti-Trump anger and turn it into a viable win in a district that would have otherwise long-term been favored by Republicans. I don't think that this district has been represented by a Democrat since before Jimmy Carter was president. So it would be a substantial upset in a suburban southern district to elect a Democrat to replace this guy. So we'll see what happens, but that's why, if you're not plugged into politics, that's why it's considered a significant vote. They had the election in Montana. They had the election in, where was the other election? They've had 2 elections so far that were contested that were supposed to be signs that Trump was bad for Republicans. And so far they've been close, but the Republicans have both triumphed. So that's the story there. The body slam campaign in Montana, but there was one more. South Carolina, is that where it was? I'm not sure where the other one was. But anyway, there was another election. Sean King is, in fact, a white man. If you don't know who Sean King is, congratulations, your life is better than mine. Okay, I love all of you. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Go check out OutkickTheCoverage.com for the anonymous mailbag today. It's great as always. Thanks to you guys for your emails. I am Clay Travis. Go buy your DBAP shirts. We're almost out of them for your dads and everybody else as a late Father's Day present. Go check out OutkickGear.com. You can do that. As well, download the SeatGeek app and go check out OddsShark for all your gambling and informational related needs. We'll be live tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. Start your mornings off with us. If you aren't already, 250 AM FM stations, as well as satellite XM, Sirius XM, Channel 83. I am Clay Travis. Kisses to you guys. Don't be a pussy. #DBAP. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning.